We've talked a lot on today's show about those protests in Wisconsin, but now we have an honest-to-God cheesehead with a slightly different take than I do. Democratic strategist David Goodfriend joins us for the Daily Rant. David, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Matt. You know, when the Green Bay Packers won the Super Bowl, cheeseheads like me who were born, raised, and educated in Wisconsin were so proud of our home state. The only place in America where the fans own a professional sports team. The team from the NFL's smallest town wins the big game. It was Wisconsin at its best. Shared ownership, shared glory, and triumph for the little guy. Wisconsin's own governor, however, didn't seem to get the message. Within days of the Packers' triumph, Republican Governor Scott Walker announced that he was ramming through a bill to dismantle the rights of teachers and other public employees to collectively bargain for their contracts. Major pay cuts immediately. Every public employee union would be hit, except, of course, for the ones that happen to support Governor Walker's campaign. Now, by some accounts, Governor Walker knew public employees would be upset and threatened to call up the Wisconsin National Guard if necessary. The National Guard! Governor Walker, I was kind of scared of my fifth-grade teacher, I admit, but I'm pretty sure you don't need National Guardsmen for protection against her. So for the last few days, rather than bask in the glory of the green and gold, my hometown of Madison, Wisconsin has been rocked by division and anger and disillusionment. Madison Public Schools, where I got a great education, where my mom and my stepmom worked for years, closed down. What happened to my home state, where everyone believes in shared sacrifice and shared benefits? Where the state where for 50 years public employees and state governments worked peacefully to arrive at agreeable deals. Governor Walker says this is about solving a budget shortfall, but that's a bunch of dairy state bull. The Wisconsin Fiscal Bureau said as recently as January 31st that the state ran a $121.4 million surplus. Governor Walker himself admits that his plan would save only about $30 million this year, a tiny amount out of a $14 billion state budget. And the average wage of a public employee in Wisconsin is almost exactly the same as the median U.S. income. No. Don't be fooled. This isn't about the budget. It's about Republican payback. It's about attacking workers' rights to organize. And it's happening in a coordinated, methodical way in New Jersey, Indiana, and several other states across the country. Oh, sure, we love it when workers organize in Cairo, but in Madison, whoa, that's scary. You know what? I am sick of conservatives giving tax breaks to their cronies and breaking the backs of teachers and nurses in the name of austerity. Governor Walker, remember the Packers. When we all own the team and we all share the responsibilities, everyone wins. Matt?
David, it's a great rant, and I understand your point of view. I honor that opinion. But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If Walker wasn't going after the collective bargaining rights,
right.
Would you be okay with this?
Absolutely, provided that it was shared sacrifice. And when I say remember the Packers, it's a fan-owned team, and that's the Wisconsin way. Suppose Governor Walker had said, you know what, I wanted to give that big tax cut to corporations, which he ran through too, but I didn't get enough funding for it in the budget, so guess what? I'm going to pare that back too. That's shared sacrifice. That's fine. But you had a guest on earlier who put it exactly right. This is an institutional attack on collective bargaining by public employees. And people know it in Wisconsin. That's why you see those protests. They smell it. This is political vindictiveness. It's not about balancing the budget.
Well, but so let's leave that aside, because on the shared sacrifice thing, I'm not going to defend Walker, but it's a fact that the savings he projects from these measures on the health care and pension cutbacks would only account for about 10% of the budget hole that he's trying to fill. Isn't that the shared sacrifice you're talking about? Putting aside the collective bargaining stuff. I understand that.
Sure. Let's talk about. There's a little bit of obfuscation of the facts going on here. I want to go back to the Wisconsin Fiscal Bureau in a January 31st, 2011 letter to the Joint Economic Committee pointed out that the baseline for the budget was a $121.4 million surplus. Now, here's what that means. That means that the governor put on top of that a huge tax cut, unfunded, I might add, and then said, oh, my God, we've got a budget crisis. It's exactly analogous to what happened in Washington. If you added up all the state shortfalls in the country, it's about $175 billion. Guess what? The tax cut for the richest in America that they weren't even asking for is $400 billion. It's criminal.
Well, David, I understand that, and I'm with you on that we shouldn't be cutting taxes for the rich, especially at a time of war. But are you really taking the position that in perpetuity public sector employees should pay almost nothing for their health care insurance when average Americans who are paying the taxes for this have to pay a lot more?
No, you're mischaracterizing what I'm saying.
I'm asking.
Shared sacrifice, Matt, means that if public employees are going to see their contribution to their pensions double, if you go to Wisconsin today and say, we've got to do this to balance the budget, and guess what? Those tax cuts that I just passed for the wealthiest corporations, they're gone too. You would not have people camping out in the state capitol. I can guarantee it. I know my state. That's not how people think. People are willing to share sacrifice. They just don't want to be scapegoated.
Very good, David. David Goodfriend, great rant.